Good morning everyone. I am T. Dube. The title that you see on your screen, Objective English Easy to Hearts Part 1, is the name of my books, Objective English Easy to Hearts Part 1 and Part 2. These books are available both on Amazon and Flipkart. You can order these books from there. In these books, Objective English Easy to Hearts Part 1 and Part 2, I have written some unique research techniques. With the help of these techniques, you can solve any question asked at school level examinations and in different competitive examinations that are mentioned here at the bottom of this cover page. And names of some of the techniques are also mentioned here. You can see Venopak technique, Submavia technique, Recovia technique, Ecopay technique, and there are many more inside these books. In my classes, I am going to show you how you can solve questions of any difficulty level. If there is a question which is very difficult to solve, I am showing you how with the help of these techniques such questions can be solved very easily. And not only that, you can accurately know most of the questions even before you sit for the examinations. This is my 12th lecture on Objective English Easy to Hearts Part 1. I would advise you to follow from lecture number 1 to the last lecture and see change in you. And after that, after my lectures, you can take questions from anywhere, from any source, and apply these techniques to know whether you can solve those questions and predict the coming questions or not. In today's class, I am going to begin a very important grammar chapter, that is Gerund. So it will have two classes. In the first class, I will be discussing the concept of the chapter, and in the second part of this class, I will be showing you the analysis and how to apply the techniques of Gerund. So let us begin today's class on Gerund. Look at the screen, and this is 1.6 Gerund beginning from rule number 51. Look at rule number 51 first, and let us understand what Gerund is. The rule says a gerund is a form of a verb that ends in ing and does the work of a noun. So these two parts that I am underlining should be memorized by you. Now look at the examples given here and understand the concept. Smoking is injurious to health. Swimming is a good exercise. Writing a good essay is not that easy. And they accused me of misleading them. So in each of these examples, the word smoking has come from the verb smoke. The word swimming has been made from verb swim, and writing has been made from the verb write, and misleading has been formed from the verb mislead. And as you can see, all these words are ending with ing. So concept number 1, gerund is a form of verb that ends in ing. So each of these words that are given in bold are ending in ing. Now the second concept. It does the work of a noun. We will be discussing what are the functions of nouns in later chapters, but here smoking is a noun because it is working as a subject of this verb is. Swimming is a noun because it is functioning as a subject of this verb is. Writing is a noun because it is functioning as a subject of this verb is. And misleading is a noun because it is functioning as the object of this preposition of. So in this way we can say that a gerund is a form of a verb that ends in ing and does the work of a noun. Now let us discuss rule number 52. Now look at rule number 52. Rule number 52. When a gerund is followed by a complement, object or adverbial, it is called a gerund clause. What does it mean? Let me explain so that you can understand. Look at the examples given. Smoking too much gives him a headache. I look forward to seeing you. He's nervous because of not being on time. And I regret having said that. So in each of these examples, concentrate on the part that I am encircling. Concentrate on these parts. Now let me explain. Smoking is gerund and too much is its complement, or you can say adverbial here because it is talking about smoking how much. So this is adverbial. In second example, seeing is followed by you soon. This you is the object of this gerund. And on time is adverbial, or you can say adverb, which is describing the word, providing the time of being. And having is being followed by say that. So these parts that I have encircled are complement or object or adverbial. So when a gerund is followed by a complement or object or adverbial, the entire part, gerund plus complement, object or adverbial, is called gerund clause. In simple language, smoking too much will be called a gerund clause. Seeing you soon will be called a gerund clause. Not being on time will be called a gerund clause. Having said that will be called a gerund clause. Because in these groups, gerund is not alone. It is coming with other words as well. And here also, excuse me for having bothered you. So this is a gerund clause. Moving on to rule number 53. Some verbs are followed by a gerund, not an infinitive. The list of these verbs must be memorized by you. These verbs are often asked in most of the examinations, both at school level, at competitive level, and even at college level. Plus, from writing and speaking point of view, these verbs provide special knowledge to the speaker. Now let us consider these examples here. Look at these examples. She admits to conspiring against her boss. You must avoid getting into an argument. We should consider shifting to a new flat. She delayed breaking the sad news to him, and the scorpion risked coming out in the rain. So in these examples, the verb admits, the verb avoid, the verb consider, the verb delayed, and the verb risked are being followed by gerund, not by an infinitive. A good student can ask a question. What will happen if an infinitive is used after these verbs? Answer is, it will be a grammatical mistake. So take care of it. Some verbs are followed by a to infinitive, not by a gerund. So when infinitive and gerund are compared, you must be very, very careful about the similarities between these two chapters plus differences between the two. Now consider the examples. She agreed to let me go early. They asked us to wait outside for some time. Sometimes I fail to understand you. So in these examples, the verb agreed, the verb asked, the verb fail are followed by infinitives. So what will happen if you replace these infinitives with gerund? The sentence will become wrong. Moving on to rule number 55. Look at rule number 55. Some verbs must have an object before a gerund. Again, you must be very careful about these verbs. These verbs are catch, discover, feel, hear, leave, notice. And what is the application? Consider these examples given. I caught her sleeping during office hours. The police discovered him hiding in a shed. I felt a kind hand touching my head. They left us guessing the winner's name. So in these examples, you can say there is an object. Her is an object. Him is an object. A kind hand is an object of the verb felt, and here us is the object of the verb felt. So the rule says that some verbs must have an object before a gerund. So you can see after these verbs, first of all, object has been used, and then the gerund part is coming. Keep this structure in mind. Now moving on to rule number 56. It says some verbs can have an object or no object before a gerund. So keep these verbs also in mind if you want to have special knowledge of grammar, and consider these examples. I detest getting up early on Sundays. I detest people throwing litter on in the street. I dislike being away from my children. He dislikes his wife going shopping alone. Everyone dreads going against nature. She dreads her husband finding out. Now let us consider these examples. Here, detest is not being followed by a gerund or an object. The gerund is coming directly after detest. But in second example, the same verb detest is being followed by an object people, and then gerund is coming. In the next example, dislike is being followed directly by gerund, being away from my children. But in the next example, his wife is the object of dislikes. So the rule says that some verbs may take an object after them, or may not take an object after them. So you need to keep them in mind. Moving on to rule number 56. Again, very important collection, both from grammar point of view, from reading point of view, from writing point of view. Some prepositional verbs are often followed by a gerund. So please use all these prepositional phrases in your own sentences, and then consider these examples. The villagers accused him of misleading them. You must apologize for misbehaving with her. My father had decided against sending me out. So these prepositional phrases, accuse of, apologize for, decide against, are being followed by a gerund. Likewise, there are some other combinations as well. The following adjective plus preposition combinations are followed by a gerund. So in this list, you can see an adjective plus preposition combinations, like accustomed to will be followed by a gerund, bad at will be followed by a gerund, fed with, of will be followed by a gerund. Consider these examples. You must feel sorry for saying that. So here, feel sorry for is an adjective followed by preposition, and saying that is a gerund. He must be ashamed of. So ashamed is an adjective, ashamed of, saying that he lied to her. So this is being followed by a gerund. Children were keen on listening to the story. So here listening to the story is coming after adjective plus preposition combinations. I am tired of hearing excuses from you. The management was never opposed to helping. So, hope these combinations are useful to you. Now, here also, some noun plus preposition combinations are often followed by a gerund. Please make use of these expressions because they are very, very important for speaking, for reading, for writing, and of course, from grammar point of view, these combinations are heart and soul of gerund. Consider these examples. Look at this example. I have difficulty in making people understand me. She takes pleasure in criticizing others. Is there any possibility of his returning to us? Excuse for my being late. So now you can see that difficulty in is a noun plus preposition combination which is being followed by a gerund. Pleasure in is a noun plus preposition combination which is being followed by a gerund. Possibility of is a noun plus preposition combination which is being followed by a gerund. And excuse for is a noun plus preposition combination which is being followed by a gerund. So these rules must be kept in mind if you want to get greater command and control over gerund chapter. Now moving to rule number 60. Look at rule number 60. We can also use a gerund after than, as, and like. How? A holiday is nicer than sitting at desk. Very, very important. A holiday is nicer than sitting at desk. So here sitting at desk is a gerundial clause. Walking is as good as jogging. So here jogging is coming after as. And teaching children like you is like training mules. So here gerund is coming after, say, like. So this rule says that gerund can be used after than, as, and like. Now let us move on to rule number 61. Look at rule number 61. Verbs remember and regret are followed by a to infinitive to talk about necessary actions. Means if these verbs remember and regret are followed by a full infinitive, it means the speaker will be talking about necessary actions. But when we talk about past memories, a gerund comes after that. Let us consider these examples and understand the case. Did you remember to switch off the lights? So here remember is being followed by an infinitive. And this infinitive shows that the switching of the light is a necessary activity. But she forgot to call your name. So here she forgot to call your name is again necessary activity. I can vividly remember cycling with my father. So here I can vividly remember cycling with my father takes to the past event. So it is talking about past memories. Past memories. Have a look at this. She will never forget being scolded like that. So she has been scolded earlier. She remembers that incident. So remember is followed when remember and regret are followed by infinitive. We talk about necessary actions, and when they are followed by gerund, then we are talking about past memories. Moving on to rule number 62. The active gerund can sometimes have a passive meaning. This happens after need and want. Your trousers badly need washing. Your trousers badly need washing. So here, how can you say that need is being followed by washing and it gives passive sense? It means need to be washed. My car needs cleaning, or here you can also use my car wants cleaning. So when you are using the sentence my car wants cleaning or needs cleaning, its meaning will be my car needs to be cleaned or my car wants to be cleaned. Moving on to rule number 63. Let's understand what it says. After stop, we can use infinitive of purpose. But stop plus gerund means to end an action. So when stop is followed by an infinitive, it means it is an infinitive of purpose. But when a stop is followed by a gerund, it means the action is coming to an end. Let us understand with the help of these examples. Mother stopped to ask after Mr. Tyagi, and please stop talking so loud in library. So here, mother stopped to ask after Mr. Tyagi. So this to ask after Mr. Tyagi is talking about purpose. Why did mother stop? So the purpose of mother's stop was to ask after Mr. Tyagi. And please stop talking means please end this action of talking. So stop when followed by an infinitive is used for infinitive of purpose, and when it is followed by a gerund, it means end of an action. Moving on to rule number 64. Determiners like the, these, that, some, a lot, a bit, of, and much can be used before a gerund. Let us look at these examples. The training you give is unique. This constant arguing irritates me. No parking. I love to do some gardening. So in these examples you can see the determiners have been used. The, these, no, and some. Usually what happens when we talk about gerund, we are talking about a verbal noun. So it is not like a normal like water, like countable nouns or uncountable nouns. Now look at rule number 65. It says, rule number 65 says, possessive adjectives can also be used before a gerund. Your driving always terrifies me. Her making fun of you is not so funny. Here make no to not. Their walking together help them a lot. Their working together help them a lot. So in each of these examples you can see possessive adjective her or your, possessive adjective her, possessive adjective there has been used. So these rules show that even possessive adjectives can be used before gerunds. Now after we have discussed these rules, let us talk about surefire shortcut trick. This surefire shortcut trick number 6 will give you the idea what you should remember about gerund and how questions are set on this particular chapter. So let us discuss it. Surefire shortcut trick, and let us summarize it by understanding this surefire shortcut trick. You know that a gerund is a noun made from a verb. We have already discussed at the beginning of the chapter. Formed by adding ing, and it can be used as a subject, the complement, or the object of a sentence. You also know that certain verbs and prepositional phrases that we have discussed take a gerund after them. Keeping in mind these points, that means the functions of gerund, and that some words are followed by gerund, some combinations are followed by gerund, we can solve most of the questions. These points need to be kept in mind. Let us understand these 2 points. What they say. If verbs like admit, avoid, can't help, can't consider, imagine, and feel like are followed by a form of the verb other than ing, the error lies in gerund. Please memorize it. If phrases like be used to, remember it is not used to, it is be used to. So if phrases like be used to, pleasure in, point in, the possibility of, how about are not followed by the ing form of the verb, that means gerund, the error lies in the gerund. So from surefire shortcut trick number 6, you have understood what are the points regarding gerund that you need to keep in mind before we are moving to the practice set and analysis. Keep all these rules and the discussion in mind. Let me show you how you should solve questions based on this chapter.